Dead Rock Chapter 30 is officially out, and this was another great chapter. I called a lot of stuff that would end up happening at the start of this arc already, apparently, but also something happened that I honestly felt like could have waited a few chapters before we get into it. But nevertheless, this chapter was honestly really fun. We got some really cool piece of lore and world building for the human realm, and we get to see Class F basically interacting with other humans for once and learning what has been happening in the human world over the last couple of years, apparently. But before we jump right into this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. I already made 2 different Dead Rock theory videos, and I'm planning to make a few more discussion-based videos with every single chapter that releases. Whether it's 1 to 2 videos a month, I'm not sure yet. Depends on what I'm able to get out. That's appropriate after the chapters that release. But nevertheless, you're seeing more Dead Rock content on your feed, so get excited. But now, let's jump right into Chapter 30 of Dead Rock. And before we actually get to the chapter, Mashima shared us a color page of Ryzen, as this is actually the image that he used for Volume 6 of the manga that's releasing in Japan pretty soon. Really nice coloring, I love the artwork for Ryzen, and out of the first couple of volumes of this manga, we only have one more member of Class F to get a volume cover, and that will be Zalisha, which means she's going to be saved for Volume 7, as we already have YAKUTO, Frey, Hein, Mikoto, and Hani, and now Ryzen. So I'm excited to see the entirety of Class F represented in their own individual volume covers. But now to the actual chapter, Chapter 30 of Dead Rock, titled Underneath the Mask. And the image that we use for this cover is of Ryzen in street clothes in an alleyway with a pug eating food. So honestly really nice, kind of wholesome. But this chapter starts off with some really nice and beautiful landscape shots of the human realm. Unlike the last chapter where we had like a double page spread of the human realm to kind of set the mood, we're only getting a couple of panels to showcase where exactly the human world is and how it's drawn. As we see Class F exits one of the portals from the demon realm that enters the human realm. As we remember last chapter, after Class F got introduced to Bebel and we got his whole backstory, he revealed that during his time in Dead Rock 3 months previously, he accidentally entered the human realm, met someone, a priestess named Himiko, who knows about faith. And so he is taking them to the human realm to meet her so that they learn more about faith and how to weaken God. And so Class F has officially entered the human realm, and they're very much liking the sights. As we get some pretty funny banter between Hani and Zalisha about the birds, and how Zalisha might just be kind of a crappy bird in consideration of the demon realm. But Bebel looks kind of concerned, which Mikoto notices. Now Bebel says that he's been here once before, but something feels different from before. Now Frey says, well, this is the human realm after all. It's full of stuff we don't understand, right? With Bebel saying, well, yeah. Mikoto mentions the one that knows about faith, Mikoto, as Bebel gives a pretty sinister and creepy grin, which is apparently his character quirk, that whenever he gets excited or feels confident, I guess, which is a funny character quirk. But yeah, he remembers where she is and he's going to lead the way. But they kind of have a problem, and that is disguises, primarily for Hani, because he does not look human or anywhere close to it in comparison to the other characters in our main cast. And so, their solution, put him in a sombrero, draw a mustache on him, cover his mouth, and put something like a poncho on him. And so this kind of looks good for Hani, and they kind of make him say like, oh, look, you look a lot more human now, and I guess a lot of series need to bring back the art of the goofy disguise that somehow works. I kind of like it. And they also bring up the joke about needing a guitar to pull the whole look together. That's kind of funny, but at the same time, kind of feels like Mashima's leaning a bit too much into the stereotypes for this joke, but that could just be me. Let me know in the comments how you feel. Now they're wondering about Choco because, well, Choco's a bird. How is she going to fit into all this? But again, Zalisha was never a bird to begin with. She has a more humanoid form, only difference is that she has the cat ears. And it has been a long time since we've seen Zalisha in her human form. Like, since I don't even think she did this in the tournament arc, in the field day event, if I'm being correct. Which is interesting to see. But then we get another piece of wacky comedy of just Ryzen and Mikoto being on the same page, saying, oh, well, this just makes things more depressing because as a bird, you poop all over the place and on people's heads, which Alicia does not do. So, I found that kind of funny that they're still laying jabs into each other, especially considering the fact that Alicia stays in bird form all the time. But Bebel ends up bringing in a very interesting piece of information about the humans, saying that humans are really weak. Their towns are dark and dreary, and it's like they're a species without hope. Unlike us, their minds and bodies are incredibly fragile, and that's why they rely on gods. Which is an interesting thing to really put in, as this also ties into how religion tends to work for a lot of people, as religion is a guiding post and a light of hope for many people who need guidance in their life in the darkest of circumstances. And so that's also playing on the fact that how important faith is when it comes to the gods of the Dead Rock universe. As we then transition to a very bustling and thriving town, with Bebel finishing his thought on humans relying a lot on gods, saying that it's not really a bad thing, as long as they don't pick the wrong god to count on. Obviously, Alphid, the god that's fucking everything up right now. And so they're all walking around town, as it is incredibly bustling and thriving, as all the main cast now have more street attire, and we see everyone like Zalisha, Mikoto, and Frey. Their street attire is honestly adorable and really nice. Bebel's still in his cloak, and Ryzen just in standard streetwear. Honestly, I want to see more of these characters in the streetwear, and since we're in the human realm, I think these looks are going to stay very, very common. But yeah, they also notice that they're very similar to how a lot of demons look, which they're humanoid appearances. And I like how no matter what, Zalisha and Hani will keep butting heads no matter what. Mikoto says they do look a lot like us, but Zalisha kind of gloating to herself, saying that none of the women here look as gorgeous as she does. But Bebel instantly notices that he doesn't really get what's going on, but something's definitely changed in the human realm. But instead, that Zalisha, Ryzen, and Hani go off to explore and do some sightseeing, and Hani wants to go find his guitar, because apparently that's stuck with needing the disguise to be pulled together, and now it's kind of his obsession, which I find hilarious. So, essentially, the children go off to play, and the adults are staying to focus on business. Honestly, out of all the characters in this group to go off and like sightsee and do their own thing, and just take advantage of being in a new place, I do kind of see them being like this. Even Ryzen, to a degree, he's a serious guy, but he'll goof off every now and again. And Frey not trying to go off with them shows her change in outlook in her character ever since Yakuto's death, and everything that's happened ever since, as she tells them that they didn't come here to fool around. With Mikoto saying, well, we don't all have to stick together all the time, so how about the three of us go and meet this Himiko girl? So Frey, Mikoto, and Bebel go off to meet Himiko, while the rest of the group are off doing their own thing, who we catch up to immediately as they're having this massive feast in the human realm, as they're just eating everything in sight, as they're enjoying the local delicacy. A barb at Zalisha accidentally eating poultry, which kind of freaks her out, but everybody in the restaurant is kind of uneasy and, wary of these new people that are in their town. Ryzen catches on to this immediately and is basically saying, what are you guys looking at? What, you think this guy don't look human? As he goes over to Hani, grabbing his head, as he kind of freaks out everybody in the bar. So Alicia tells him to cut it out, as they're just here to eat. Now Ryzen obviously still looking, pissed off. The store owner comes over and basically says, wait, are you not from around here? I'm wondering, you guys still have to pay for your food, okay? As this catches the three of them off guard, as they realize they have no money. They just started eating a bunch of food and ordered without realizing, oh, we have to pay. But Zalisha takes the initiative, and saying that she's got this handled. She turns into a bird and flies away, fleeing the coop, just letting Ryzen and Hani handle everything, which I find hilarious. The second there's trouble like this, Zalisha will just up and run away, preserving her own life. I always find stuff like this hilarious. But yeah, they have to deal with the bill right now, and Hani's trying to get Ryzen to sell a sword. Obviously, Ryzen can't sell the sword, but then someone else comes in wearing what seems to be like a skeleton mask, from what I can tell. It's an old man saying that he's going to take care of their tab, as they're confused as to who this is. Cut to a little bit later in the middle of the town park, as they thank him for saving them, as he says it's not a big issue anyway, with Alicia trying to play off that she was going off to find help. But the old man instantly clocks that they are from the demon realm and asks them about it. But the old man says not to be on guard. This town is a liberated zone. As Hani asks what that is, essentially, the old man explains that since they haven't been around here, they should take a look at all of the flags flying around. Obviously, the dual black and white dragon flag that we saw at the end of the last chapter with that lone knight walking up a hill. As Alicia notices that they do kind of stand out, but she figured that it was the national flag there. As we then get to an even more detailed look at the town, as this flag is flown everywhere. As the old man continues to say that it shows that it's a liberated zone that's been freed by the hero. This flag is the Liberation Army's flag. As it seems like this world, at least this town also, is part of some revolutionary war, seemingly, and towns are being continuously liberated, as this catches everyone off guard. But we then cut to an old building that's run down with windmills in the distance, very detailed. And to an extent, kind of reminds me as if it's similar to a specific guild of some sort. A guild potentially of wizards, perhaps, but maybe I am just overthinking things. But now that they're here, this is where Himiko is supposed to be, and it's very run down. But it's then that Bebel begins to panic as he barges through the door, seeing an empty cathedral, as he's wondering what's going on, as she's not here, as Mikoto points out that it seems like no one's been here for a while. But Bebel reveals that he came there 3 months ago. It should not have gotten this bad in 3 months, as this looks like it's been gone for years. And it was right here, after he started living under Dead Rock, he was positive this was 3 months ago, with Frey looking at the dragon flag that we saw before with the symbol. With Bebel saying that the flag wasn't there last time he was there, and Himiko's gone as well, with Frey pointing out to Mikoto that about the symbol on the flag, as there's something about it that is very familiar. And Bebel's obviously panicking because his friend's gone, because whoever is behind this flag is responsible for what happened to this place and Himiko's disappearance. Frey said that she saw a bunch of the same flags in town, as Bebel's like, wait, that means this town is under their control too. With Mikoto obviously placing together, white and black for the flags, as this is something that should be kind of obvious. It is an upbeat mystery for this section after all. But we cut back to the town park with the old man and Ryzen's group, as they're questioning about the Liberation Army and the hero and how the old man knew that they were demons. Well, the man says, well, I'm not from the human world either. As Alicia asks, what's the hero liberating towns from anyway? As in a 2-page spread, we have God Elfid, in a big reveal that the old man says that, well, the hero is liberating towns from the places that are under the control and influence of God Elfid, or I suppose you'd call him the principal. As this shocks the group, as the old man continues to say, the human world is controlled by Elfid because of people's faith in him. The hero was fighting Elfid by liberating people from him. And now the main group actually now knows the principal's actual real name, but are still wondering who this hero is. As the old man says that this hero is a rebel, who took a stand to liberate people from God's control, a true hero. As we get another image of this not very cool looking knight with the dragon symbol on his cape looking back, as behind him in the background shows multiple different nation flags, obviously being used to symbolize the different kingdoms and towns that he has liberated over the years. As this is getting everyone kind of curious, as there's someone here with the same goal as them. And apparently, according to the old man, he's been fighting for 15 years now. And Alicia, realizing that if they can meet up with them, he might be able to help them, and wants to know where he is. And the old man reveals he's here in this town. As we then cut to the outside of the tower, as a crowd of people waving the flag of liberation around are gathering. As Alicia and Mikoto are wondering what this shouting outside the building is, they go out, and we then get a double-page spread of a man walking through town. It's this exact same heroic knight, the hero that has liberated the world. And I like the detail in this background, the hero waving everybody in the crowd, all the different character designs in the background, the houses, the way everything's done. It's really nice. It gives you a nice sense of atmosphere and celebration of how everyone just admires this hero. And we see it Everybody is just in awe of this man, as he is, well, their hero. And it's honestly really nice to see the impact that he has had on this town, as they are want him to be blessed, and they tell him that he's done a great job. With Mikoto and Frey realizing that, oh, he's a hero? He's popular? And they look at the flags once more. Bebel, continuously looking like the scary-looking guy he is, says, the flags definitely belong to the hero guy then. And then that Zelicia's group ends up making their way through the crowd also to go and meet up with this hero. As then a man in the crowd begins to say that another nation that was once ruled by the villainous god has been revived by the Liberation Army, obviously liberated and freed from his influence, as the crowd cheers. As now Frey and Mikoto realize that whoever this guy is, he is liberating places from God's control. As Frey is kind of freaking out, but also probably holding back some bit of like excitement and kind of concern, saying that this guy is God's enemy? The man continues to walk through the crowd as our group continues to try and make it through to meet him, with Zelicia turning into her Choco form to weave her way through the crowd. And as we get another look at the black and white dragon flags, the hero begins to lift off his helmet, with Mikoto finally piecing everything together. And as the hero takes off his helmet, we are revealed in a 2-page spread that it is indeed YAKUTO, reincarnated as a human in the human realm, like we were told in the previous pages. And this is a really awesome double-page spread of YAKUTO revealing himself to the crowd and his friends, as now all of Class F and Bebel end up realizing that that's YAKUTO, and wondering what the hell is going on. And I think Frey's face is the biggest. This is shock, awe, concern, and also a bit terrified over what this could all mean. And I really do love that she got the bigger impact in this reaction frame. As we get an image of everybody, YAKUTO smirking, but over in the left corner is the old man lifting off his hat, as there are letters written on top of it. L-I, and what looks like a P. Meaning that this old man is Lip, the god of the underworld, the god of death, that was defeated and seemingly killed by Elfid a couple of chapters ago, before YAKUTO and the others got reincarnated. And that is a crazy way to end this chapter. Not only getting the main cast actually seeing that YAKUTO has been seemingly alive and well, but now we also have Lip, the god of death, now revived as an ordinary human seemingly. But now the time dilation thing that I forgot to mention apparently. Bebel was gone for 3 months, they come back, and apparently it's been over 15 years or so, a long time. But for all we know, since YAKUTO has been fighting for 15 years, and from what I remember, it has been roughly a week since his death in the Demon Realm. That means a week in the Demon Realm could be like roughly 15 years in the Human Realm. So this is an insane thing, because they could spend years in the Human Realm and be back within a couple of weeks, if anything, in the Demon Realm, which is crazy enough on its own. But now we get the interpersonal drama and reveals of YAKUTO, what he's done these past 15 years, how he's created this Liberation Army. How will the main cast react to the fact that YAKUTO was reincarnated in the human realm and has been fighting there for so many years? I want to know what Lip's doing also now that he's reincarnated as a human. And lastly, Setsuna and Hein were also reincarnated. Are they also a part of the Liberation Army? Did they find it more recently? How did this come to be? Do they still have their demon root powers? I am so excited to find out what's going on. I did call that YAKUTO was the reincarnation. I think we all knew that this was quite obviously the main thing that was going on with that tease at the end of chapter 29. But I think we can all agree this reveal would have been a lot better and had a lot more impact, especially with the main cast, if we had a few chapters with Frey as the main lead, progressing the story up until we get the reveal of YAKUTO. We could have had the Liberation Army and everything like this chapter as well, but the actual reveal of YAKUTO and meeting him again could have been a few chapters down the road against an antagonist and having the main cast help in liberating a town from God's control. I think that would have worked a lot better than this, but either way, the subtle and quick reveal of YAKUTO is okay to me. But this chapter was still really great. I love the subtle and obvious world building of the human realm, as well as the time change and the mystery of what's going on with Himiko, how this world has been fighting back against God thanks to YAKUTO, and I'm just really excited to see what happens next. But you guys let me know what your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy what I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more. And with all that said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.